Office revenge isn't always loud. Sometimes, it's as quiet as a missing chair, and as satisfying as seeing a smug smile disappear. Let me ask you this. Have you ever had something stolen from you at work? Not an object, but a symbol of your time, effort, and dignity? That's what happened to me. Over a chair. Not just any chair, the best chair in the entire office. The one I earned after 5 long years of loyalty, deadlines, overtime, and staying sane during Zoom hell. But then came Brandon from HR. New, arrogant, and equipped with exactly zero respect for seniority. He didn't just steal my chair. He tried to steal my space, my comfort, and my peace of mind. So I brewed a little plan. A quiet one, a patient one, and in the end, one that made every petty, passive-aggressive part of me deeply satisfied. Welcome to HR Horror, the chair that vanished, a workplace revenge tale with just the right amount of lumbar justice. Chapter 1. A Chair with Seniority. I know this sounds strange, but in our office, chairs were sacred. Not just any chairs, the ergonomic, adjustable, breathable mesh chairs. We had 20 employees, but only 12 of those chairs. They were relics from the previous CEO. Sleek, silent gliders of productivity. The rest of the chairs? Budget nightmares, squeaky, stiff, and guaranteed to destroy your spine by 3 p.m. Now, I'd been with the company for 5 years. Through reorgs, layoffs, even the pandemic hybrid shuffle, I stayed. So when I finally claimed one of the coveted chairs, I guarded it like a medieval throne. I even labeled it with a discreet sticker. #12 assigned to M. And it stayed with me for almost 2 years. Then HR hired Brandon. Brandon was, how do I put this politely, fresh out of grad school, confident, entitled, and convinced the world owed him ergonomic lumbar support. On his second week, he walked into the office, sat at my desk, rolled away my chair, and never brought it back. When I came in Monday morning, I found a rickety, low-backed substitute. My sticker was peeled off, left like a crime scene clue on the floor. I asked around, thinking maybe it was moved for cleaning. But no. People in hushed tones said, "Didn't Brandon take that?" He said he needed a chair that matched his energy. I went straight to him, professionally, of course, and said, "Hey, I think there's been a mix-up. That's actually my assigned chair. It's labeled and everything." Brandon gave me a grin that still makes my blood boil. "Oh, I thought these were shared resources. You're not attached to a chair, right?" Then he winked. That's when I knew. This wasn't just about a chair. It was about respect. And Brandon, he was about to learn that petty doesn't mean powerless. Chapter 2. The Squeaky Truth. It started with a faint squeak. You see, my old office chair wasn't just comfortable. It was whisper quiet. No annoying wheels. No wobble. Just smooth, cushioned silence. But that morning, as I sat down to begin my usual routine, I heard a telltale creak, followed by a low groan from the armrest. I froze. One quick glance confirmed what I feared. This wasn't my chair. My pristine, custom-adjusted, lumbar-supporting throne had been swapped out with one of the cheap, budget-order backups. You know the kind. No padding, missing a wheel cap, permanently tilting to the left like it just gave up on life. I stood up and inspected it like a detective at a crime scene. Scratched base, torn mesh, and yep, a sticky mystery substance under the right armrest. Disgusted, I marched toward the one place I knew I'd find my chair if someone dared touch it. The HR office. Sure enough, there it was. My chair, sitting proudly behind Brandon's desk. Brandon, new guy, HR's fresh culture coordinator, with his motivational posters and buzzwords like synergy and positive workspace energy. The same guy who just last week had joked that his old chair was giving him gamer back. Now he had my chair, and acted like he didn't know a thing. "Oh, yours? Really? I thought these were all the same." "All the same. Please." That chair had a coffee stain on the base I'd earned during a 3 a.m. pitch deck scramble. It had an armrest that adjusted just right for my posture. It had my name on it, figuratively and literally. And Brandon, he smirked like it was some kind of joke. I didn't argue, didn't make a scene. I just nodded, walked out, and returned to my budget seat with a soft, murderous squeak. But at that moment, the revenge plan was born. Quiet, strategic, and oh, it would be sweet. Chapter 3. Casual Friday, Calculated Payback. Casual Fridays at our office were a blessing and a curse. On one hand, it meant jeans, sneakers, and freedom from those stiff button-ups. On the other, it meant everyone let their guard down, including Brandon. So I let mine down too. Or at least, pretended to. That Friday, I strolled into the office holding 2 lattes. One for me, one extra, one that I casually dropped off at HR. "Thought you might need a caffeine boost," I said with a smile. Brandon blinked. "Wow, thanks. This is unexpected." "Oh, just try and spread some positive workspace energy." I winked. He bought it. Hook, line, and overpriced latte. That day, I observed everything. His seating posture, the way he leaned, where his elbows rested, what part of the chair he fidgeted with the most. Every detail noted like a scientist documenting wildlife in the field. Why? Because petty revenge requires precision. By 4 p.m., I had enough intel. Brandon always left for the gym before 5. He'd change in the office bathroom, then head out early like the rules didn't apply to him. When he disappeared, I made my move. Snuck into HR, closed the door, rolled my chair, away from his desk, checked it carefully. Still intact. Still mine. Then I got to work. I didn't destroy anything. No. That's rookie-level revenge. Instead, I unscrewed the right side armrest, just enough that it stayed in place, but would collapse under pressure. Then I lowered the seat height to the absolute minimum and loosened the tilt lock. A special touch for a guy who loved to sit like a king. Lastly, I reached under the seat and slipped in a thin plastic air freshener. Ocean breeze. The twist. I'd pierced it slightly with a pin, so after about an hour of sitting, it would begin to reek like a department store perfume explosion. And with that, I reclaimed my throne and rolled it triumphantly back to my desk. By the time Brandon returned Monday, the trap would be set. Chapter 4. The Fall of HR Royalty. Monday morning arrived like any other, except I was early. Too early for someone in my department, but I needed to see it. Brandon waltzed in at 8:55 sharp, still adjusting the cuffs of his blazer like he was walking into a GQ shoot. He gave his usual nod to the receptionist, glanced at me without a second thought, and made his way to his office. And then it happened. Thump. Clank. Ah, what the? I didn't even need to look. I felt the moment the armrest gave out, sending him slightly sideways into his desk. He popped back up seconds later, face red, adjusting the seat. Not 10 minutes passed before the air freshener began its attack. Why does it smell like a hotel lobby had a chemical spill in here? Brandon muttered loud enough for all of HR to hear. I heard the door open. I peeked over my monitor. He was fanning the air with a folder, visibly uncomfortable. By 11 a.m., he'd rolled the chair into the hallway and swapped it out with a spare from the conference room. My old chair was now exiled. Brandon didn't even realize it was never his to begin with. Mission accomplished? Not quite, because this wasn't just about the chair. It was about a message. You don't get to take what isn't yours and pretend it never happened. Chapter 5. Human Resources and Human Tactics. After the chair incident, things got weird. Brandon stopped saying good morning to anyone but upper management. He closed his office door more often, and he began sending passive-aggressive emails about respecting shared office property. He didn't mention the chair directly, but the timing was clear. He knew something was off. He just didn't know what. That week, a new HR policy suddenly popped up. Desk personalization items must be approved by HR. Seriously? We needed permission to have our own mugs and potted plants. Everyone grumbled, but I knew it wasn't about decor. It was about control. His control slipping. Then came the audit. Brandon started inspecting workstations under the guise of ergonomic reviews. He didn't care about our posture. He was looking for clues. Retaliation, maybe. When he stopped by my desk, I smiled and offered him a chair. He declined, awkwardly, probably still nursing that bruised ego. But his little power play gave me an idea. If Brandon wanted a witch hunt, I was about to hand him a broom. Chapter 6. The Complaint Nobody Filed. One morning, a quiet ripple spread through the office. Brandon looked rattled. He came in late, clutched his phone like a lifeline, and spent most of the morning whispering in HR's office. Whispers that turned into visible concern. Then silence. Then a flurry of emails. By noon, we all got the same message. Friendly reminder. If you feel uncomfortable at work, please reach out to HR confidentially. That's when it clicked. Brandon thought someone had filed a formal complaint against him. No one had. But I may have dropped a carefully phrased anonymous suggestion into the company's ethics portal. Hostile work environment perpetuated by management behavior. Repeated instances of targeted reprimands, unexplained equipment changes, and petty enforcement of unspoken policies. No names. No direct accusations. Just enough to raise HR's eyebrows and Brandon's blood pressure. The best part, he couldn't confront anyone without admitting he suspected something. And the more he stewed in his own paranoia, the less power he had. From that day forward, he watched every word, every policy, every sidelong glance. He created the toxic storm. Now he had to work in the fog it left behind. Chapter 7. Chairgate goes corporate. The tipping point wasn't a loud explosion. It was a single line in a quarterly meeting. Our regional director was visiting. Corporate was in town. And Brandon, ever the showman, was giving a slide presentation on workplace harmony and team cohesion. I almost choked on my lukewarm coffee. Halfway through his PowerPoint, someone from corporate raised a hand and asked, "Can you walk us through how you're promoting that harmony? Any practical examples?" Brandon hesitated, just for a second. Then he smiled that waxy grin and said, "We make sure everyone feels valued and respected. Even small things, like making sure team members have proper ergonomic equipment." I caught Joanna's eye. She nearly bit her lip to stop laughing. Later that day, our regional director did a walkthrough. And guess what caught his eye? The empty cubicle. The missing chair. He turned to Brandon. "Why is there no chair here? That's a safety violation." Brandon stammered, trying to explain away a very obvious problem. Too obvious. Too specific. And the worst part? The director then asked for the facilities log, the record of equipment requests and assignments. Brandon didn't know it had been updated. By me. Truthfully. Under equipment reallocation, March 18th, I'd added, chair reassigned without ergonomic equivalent. Employee now without seating. Initialed and timestamped. It wasn't a lie. It was documentation. Corporate didn't blow up that day. But I could tell from the director's face, a follow-up was coming. And Brandon, he finally started sweating. Chapter 8. The Office Supply Trap. Brandon didn't know it yet, but we were laying down breadcrumbs. You see, he had a habit. Every few weeks, he'd requisition office supplies, premium stuff, then lock it in his cabinet. Wireless mouse, desk fan, branded notepads, items that were supposed to be shared. We started keeping track. Quietly. Each item that vanished, I logged in the supply database. Joanna snapped photos of what went missing, what got ordered, and what Brandon reserved for himself. Then came the perfect setup. Our facilities manager, a sharp woman named Debbie, issued a surprise audit. Corporate was cracking down on budget misuse, and Debbie was ready to play detective. She came to each department head for access to their storage areas. Brandon, flustered, tried to stall. "Is this really necessary?" "Yes," Debbie replied, cool as ice. "Just a routine check." Inside Brandon's locked cabinet, 3 unopened wireless mouse, 2 high-end ergonomic footrests still boxed, $500 worth of stationery hoarded. Debbie didn't say much, just snapped photos, took notes, and asked Brandon to sign a compliance form. He looked like a ghost. The audit report was submitted to HR and corporate, and within a day, the dominoes started falling. Chapter 9. Exit Interview Energy. Brandon was still in the office the next morning, but his spirit wasn't. No more snarky comments. No more power tripping over equipment. By 3 p.m., we all got the email. Please join us in wishing Brandon well as he moves on to new opportunities. Translation. He didn't quit. He was pushed. Hard. Word got around fast. The audit had reached the regional manager, who uncovered even more misuse. Personal Amazon orders on the corporate card, misfiled reimbursements, and yes, retaliatory behavior logged in prior HR complaints. Turns out, Brandon had been warned before. His exit was quiet. No speeches. No cake. Just a cardboard box and a long walk past the people he used to lord over. He didn't even say goodbye. He wheeled out the same broken chair he tried to stick me with. Wobbly, squeaky, poetic. Me. I took a long, slow spin in my chair that afternoon, a smile spreading across my face. Feels like justice, I said, and we all agreed it was. Closing thoughts. The chair wasn't just a chair. Office politics are rarely fair. Sometimes it's about whose voice is loudest in the meeting room. Sometimes it's about who can forward the most emails without doing any real work. And sometimes it's about a chair. But here's what Brandon never understood. That chair wasn't just about comfort. It was about respect, about dignity, about not gaslighting someone into thinking they deserve less because they're lower on the ladder. I didn't want special treatment. I just wanted to be treated like a human being. When Brandon took my chair, it wasn't about office furniture. It was about control. And when we took a stand, it wasn't just to get my chair back. It was to remind everyone, especially the Brandons of the world, that power without empathy is just bullying in a better suit. In the end, karma doesn't always roar. Sometimes it squeaks, like the sound of a broken office chair being pushed out for good. If you've ever worked in an office where politics got more attention than people, this chair saga was for you. Like, subscribe, and share with someone who knows what it's like to be overlooked by HR and overworked by reality. And remember, sometimes the smallest seat carries the biggest comeback. See you in the next story, where petty revenge always finds a place to sit.